That's part of Trixidecaphobia from the band Hierophant, Shooter Jennings. And, of course, you heard that intro by Stephen King, the legendary best-selling author. Tell us about that song, because, I mean, the lyrics go on for a while, and you're talking about assassinations, aren't you?
Yeah, I was in my studies and all of this, I kind of dug into, I found some interesting pockets of people talking about Diana's death and that they thought it was a murder, and that it was, there was all these even further, deeper conspiracies that people had kind of come to about the death of her grandmother, and the kind of that this was almost a sacrificial thing. Now, whether or not that's true, I think that I took away from it this kind of looming feeling of, like, I was growing more and more aware that everything that people are told through the media is really a complete charade that's set up with a purpose in mind. Whether or not Diana's death was intentional or unintentional, the thing that I pulled away from it was it made me feel guilty to know that I didn't know. And I think with the lyrics, the first chorus deals with the Jack of Hearts, which was JFK, and the second one is the Queen of Hearts, the third one is the King of Hearts, which is Martin Luther King. And we just don't know with these figures. And whenever someone comes and speaks out with a message of peace and a message of against what the government, agenda is, it seems, they get snuffed out. You look at John Lennon, you look at all these different people, and, we could get into the mind control, patsy aspect of what's his name, Lee Harvey or any of these folks that committed these crimes. I mean, half of them didn't remember it. Half of them just, the guy who killed...
It's the same thing with Sirhan. It's the same thing with McVeigh. And then they publicly had Jolyon West, the head MK-Ultra doctor, for the years it took him for the trial. And then when he was on death row in his execution, Jolyon West was with McVeigh until the very end, a top mind control doctor.
Yeah, it's insane, man. And it's like, it's such a proven, that they've done that is like proven history. It's not
declassified, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's just scary, and you just watch how, like, I saw you on that show, the Jesse Ventura show, because I wasn't sure when I saw that show on TV. I was like, is this disinformation? Because I couldn't believe that a major network would run a show about this kind of stuff. But they tackle some very interesting things on there. I mean, I was watching the mind control episode, and just that they were, the kind of things they were talking about and experiments they were testing, it was pretty eye-opening.
Well, I'll tell you this. Ventura is for real. He set out to he thought global warming was real till he found that it was all a fraud, and that show aired right as all the fraud came out. The system can't ignore all of this. They've got to let a little bit of it out now as a steam valve, and that's even what Ventura thinks they're doing. But no, that show was done from a pure position. I convinced Ventura of a lot of it.
Well, I knew when I saw you and Ike on there that I was like, that there's no way that you guys would associate with something if it wasn't the real deal. I just, it was shocking to me the first day I ever saw it, because I couldn't believe they would let that on that Time Warner, who owns that company, would let.
Well, they've been trying to cover it up for decades, and so it made it even more taboo and more avant-garde and more hot. So now they're allowing a little bit of it out there, but just a little bit. Now, we're about to go to another song. When we come back from break, you'll tell us about the song Don't Feed the Animals. Then we'll rejoin with King, more Will-O-the-Wisp. We'll be right back with Shooter Jennings, shooterjennings.com, ladies and gentlemen. You can buy the full album starting tomorrow at the website shooterjennings.com. We'll tell you about other places to get it as well after this quick break. And we'll also talk about Shooter Jennings working with the legendary Stephen King to write the spoken word that you're going to hear when we come back out of break with Stephen King. More of Shooter Jennings and Hierophant straight ahead. The website, shooterjennings.com. The album premieres tomorrow. Let me ask you this. What would your father think of what's happening in the world today? What would Waylon Jennings think about what you're doing?
Well, I mean, it's hard to say because he passed away. It was right after 9/11. I mean, you know, he wasn't someone who was very outspoken politically, because I believe that he didn't like to be like a lot of these other artists that'll go out there and just jibber jabber about it all the time. But I think, you know, at the end of the day, my dad's heart was in the love of the people around you, and that I think he believed that, you know, that America at times have been on the right track. But I definitely feel like he would feel that what was going on right now was a very scary period. And, you know, I think in some way or another he's heard this record, and I think that he would agree with me. I mean, you know, I believe that the kind of overall message of this record is about the people that are close to you and how important your family is and your friends and the love and that your micro community in your life, because everything outside of that is a disaster. And it's like, if you can just nurture the things on a small level, I think, you know, that's what's important. And I think he would have definitely stood by that message, you know. So he would have been proud of it, though.
Absolutely. Well, I know I'm certainly just proud that you're premiering this here today. ShooterJennings.com. The album is Black Ribbons. It's very eclectic, a lot of different styles. I'm really blown away and impressed. You're only hearing a small snippet of this. We're going to play a few songs in their entirety coming up, but let's go out with Lights in the Sky from the album Black Ribbons. Comes out tomorrow.